Lambeau Hall, Jason Sehorn. Here they are, and let's move to the NFL Combine, which is kind of a fun watch. A couple of Heisman winners with questions dogging them, Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson. Mayfield's outsized personality on display this past weekend. One NFL head coach called him, quote, over-the-top cocky. Jackson, meanwhile, refused to run the 40 after some people around the league suggested he switched from quarterback to wide receiver. Whitlock, which one of these guys to you is the riskier pick?
Look, I'm already on record. I don't like short quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield is short. However, there's so much political discussion hovering around Lamar Jackson. And so the discussion about him isn't a football discussion and could potentially just become problematic. And, you know, him being represented by his mother as his agent for the time being, I consider Lamar Jackson riskier than Baker Mayfield.
See, I think Baker's a first-round quarterback pick. You whiff on that as a GM, you're selling your home. You're out of work.
No way.
Listen, in this league, what happens to teams that whiff on quarterbacks? What happened to the Vikings?
It happens all the time.
I know, but what happened to the Viking staff after they whiffed on Christian Ponder? What happened to the Tennessee staff after the way? You can whiff on a third-round quarterback. Lamar's a third-round quarterback.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
You think he's going first round?
No, but so hold on. We're talking about Baker Mayfield, who went to the playoffs twice, okay, won the Heisman Trophy, put up numbers, production, won football games. I'm sorry, but I watched the games, and his team likes him. They play with him. I don't hear a bunch of discord from the players. Yes, is he arrogant? Yeah, he's arrogant. Does he do some dumb things? Yeah, he's done some dumb things. He is a kid. In college, we did those things. Unfortunately, they're videotaped now. We talked about it earlier. But production, how do you overlook production? If you take a flyer on Baker Mayfield based on the production of what he's done at Oklahoma and he doesn't pan out, that's on Baker Mayfield, not on you. He did. He tested the way you thought he would. He ran this, he jumped that, he threw that. He looked good, okay? I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem if you whiff on Baker Mayfield. Now, Lamar Jackson, you better have a very good coach to teach him quarterback, because I don't think that he's had a good quarterback coach. Look at some of the players in the league, when they have good quarterback coaches, can teach him. Because right now, I don't think he throws the ball that accurate. And I'm sorry, that's the quarterback's job.
I disagree.
You think he's accurate?
I disagree. I'm with Colin. Just like he said, Baker Mayfield will be a top 10 pick. If you get that wrong, your job is probably on the line. And again, you say Lamar Jackson, you don't know about how he could fit into a pro-style offense, kind of, you know, you reworded it.
Sitting in the pocket.
I reworded it a different way, but essentially that's what you're saying. I don't know how Baker Mayfield can fit in a pro-style offense. They run very similar offenses. I was with Bobby Petrino in Atlanta. Did not like him. Still do not like him. But the man knows offenses. He knows how to teach guys how to throw that ball. And so I trust him as a quarterback, groomer. So I would take Lamar Jackson before I took Baker Mayfield. Even with that pick being said, I would take him because I know Bobby Petrino has coached this kid up.
Let's look at the mock drafts. Let's take an average. The average mock draft has Baker Mayfield getting taken 8, 9, 10, 12.
10, just say 10.
The average mock draft has Lamar like late second, early third. He's everybody's second or third pick. So let's just say that's true. You take him third. If you already hit you got a first round pick, you took a star. Your second round pick, by your third pick in the draft, if Kirk Cousins didn't pan out in Washington,
it wasn't
nobody's,
a big deal.
RG3 didn't pan out, the owner didn't like the coach, the coach is gone, the son has to leave. I think if you butcher first 10 picks, that's why Bill Polian's a legend. Bill Polian whiffed on a lot of picks. And he never whiffed on his first picks.
Baker's going to have high expectations where Lamar's not. He's going to have time to even grow and mature even more. Like, you know, we talked about quarterbacks acting a certain way. I just don't know how I would feel about a guy like Baker Mayfield in my locker room and just the way he's perceived. I don't know him, so I can't sit here and say, you know, he's this or that or that. Just the stuff I've read and the stuff I've seen. Like I said, if he was a corner, I'd love him to death. Give him to me. I love the confidence. But at the quarterback position, you almost got to be a politician. You do. Okay, you have to tread that line very.
Let's take that locker room thing you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I agree with you in the NFL locker room, the environment. If he steps in, he better step in humbly. Okay?
Yeah.
You're walking into a locker room with grown men with families and children who've been doing this for a long time. He was at Oklahoma. He was a senior. He's a two-time walk-on. You're talking about he's got the biggest chip on his shoulder. So, yeah, he's got a little bit of, that's going to have to go away. That cockiness/arrogance that he had in college that got him through, he's got to, like, shed some of that when he walks in that locker room. He better be humble. You cannot walk in there as the first-round Heisman Trophy pick being arrogant and cocky. Like, you got to earn your stripes. So, to your point, he has to come in a little different than what he did at Oklahoma. I'm not holding that against him, though. I think, like, the kid had to play with a chip on his shoulder to get through what he got through, and he won. Like, Lamar didn't win. Baker won.
I just know it's hard for guys to turn that off and on. You know,
Yeah. No, it is.
That is who he is. So to think he's going to change overnight because he's walking into a different locker room, I just find that hard to believe.
Don't they always say money and alcohol just make you more of what you are?
More of what you are.
So if Baker's cocky, it's not like he's getting a $12 million check and he's going to be a pastor with a local church.
Yeah.
Like, I think he is what he is.
We got to move on to my favorite topic. Elsewhere at the Combine, Penn State defensive back Troy Apke ran a 4.35 40, which impressed a lot of people, including one of the fastest guys to ever play the game, Deion Sanders, who for some reason was absolutely shocked by the performance.
Here's Troy Apke.
Oh, man, he can run.
Why are you surprised, Dan?
Oh, you know why I'm surprised? I can't say it on TV, but he can run.
He was a track guy.
Right.
He was a track guy. But you're saying it with
You don't see that much.
You're saying it in tone.
Let's call it what it is. I like that,
He
man.
just ran 4.35
Hey, man, let me go hug him.
at 215 pounds.
I'm going to hug him. Hey, man, that was good, man. You can run.
Excuse me, 200 pounds.
That's right. You, man, good job.
All right, Colin, was Deion's reaction funny or borderline inappropriate?
It was fine to me because I think the NFL Combine, it's a very loose broadcast. This is not a it's not a White House press briefing. Rich Eisen's a witty guy. It's live. It's the underwear Olympics. Rich Eisen at one point gets down and runs a 40.
Yep.
It's kind of it's not a game. The draft is serious. Games are serious. This is the least serious NFL broadcast of the week. I give the broadcasters in the moment a little leeway on comments.
I'm going to be quick because I want to hear Jason Sehorn's take, and we won't explain why. But I thought it was funny, and I thought it was borderline inappropriate because most funny things are borderline inappropriate.
Point. I'll give you that. The only problem I have with it is, like, because the white kid runs a 4.35, you give him a hug and make a big deal out of it. But every brother that ran a 4.32 or 4.3 before, you don't give them a hug. Like, why not? Because it was expected? Like, that was unexpected? Like, the kid's an athlete. Like, he runs fast. Like, I just don't understand why it's an anomaly or something different when a white kid does it. It's like, Deion's shock that he ran a 4.35 was like, that's the part that's like borderline inappropriate. It is fun. It is loose. It is the underwear Olympics. That's what it's all about. It's about going out there and doing things you can never do on a football field anyway because you're wearing a helmet and shoulder pads.
But, Jason, you played in a locker room environment since you were a kid. That kind of joke that Deion, that's commonplace.
It is, but it's commonplace in the locker room. And I say something, the jokes that I had and the things that I was able to say to my teammates could never leave the locker room. Things I could say, like, if it was, like, for myself, for most of my 10 years, it was me and 9 other black guys in our DB room. Our banter and camaraderie in that locker room could not leave to the streets. We couldn't go outside because then if I said it was disrespectful, they felt like the people who heard us didn't understand the context, didn't understand our relationship. There's no card that I get to say what I want to say in public. In our locker room, I can say whatever I want to say.
Yeah, but
they know where I'm coming from.
But that's what makes it inappropriate. It's just today's society.
Yes.
Today's society puts a filter on you. All my 14 years of playing in the NFL, I had probably one white guy in my defensive backfield, and it was in D.C., but he played about 4 or 5 years. His name was Reed Dowdy. Great player. He was the guy that took Sean Taylor's spot when Sean was killed. And so he had big shoes to fill, but he was a baller. He was a baller. And there were things we said in that room that we probably wouldn't have said outside of the room, just knowing what other people would say.
Yeah.
Not that Reed was offended or not that we got offended by some of the banter back and forth. So,
but you can't control everybody else.
No, you can't control what other people perceive your message to be? And so, was it borderline inappropriate? Probably so, but it's just because today's society,
Like,
we're walking on pins and needles.
Did you see the movie White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah.
Again,
Thing.
We've
don't expect
gone from
the
being
guy
able to make movies like that to like Dion can't crack a joke.
Yeah.
By the way, the producer of that movie never saw Tom Chambers or Danny Vernon. they were two of my favorite players.
All right, coming up, is Le'Veon Bell taking his complaints about the Steelers to a ridiculous level? Kyle and I go head to head.